we go. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Time Out with Kevin Gallagher. I'm, of course, your host. We're here with part 2 looking at animation, and we have a different group of people here this week. But before we get to our subject matter, get to our guests, I'm Kevin. You're watching my show, and we're on every Friday night here on Comcast on Channel 23, Friday nights 8:30 p.m., Monday mornings at 11 a.m. And also we're on Channel CTV 192 on Charter, and that's on Wednesday nights 9 p.m. and then Monday afternoons at 2:30 p.m. So check it out. There's a ton of different social media and stuff that this show runs on. TimeOutYouTube.com, TimeOutYouTube.com. There's like 21 years worth of shows there. You go check it out. You also have Google Plus. You have Twitter, TOWKG. You can sign up there. You have Pinterest, you have, there's a blog out there, there's all kinds of stuff. I can't remember all of it, to be honest with you. There's just tons of stuff out there where you can find the show. We're getting a lot of views on Facebook. We're getting a ton of views through Twitter, so I thank you. As always, take the show, copy it, get it out to the 4 winds. That's what it's there for. And we're here again with Jhonny Parks. And Jhonny, I want to thank you very much for being on the program. And Jhonny, you are, of course, the guy that put together that really super cool open that the show uses.
Thank you.
So I've been very happy with that. I know you're working on one for use for next year, for 2018. I'm looking forward to that. Should be really cool. Why don't you introduce the people that we have here with us, and we'll get a look at our first video.
This is once again the lovely Gabby Bazade.
Hi, how are you?
She's a student of mine and an aspiring artist. She's fantastic and a great photographer. This is the great Mike Kolchny, who is the co-founder of the Danbury Hackerspace Innovation Center.
What exactly, let me start with you, what exactly is the Danbury Hackerspace?
A hackerspace, well, the term hacker comes from MIT, the train club, back in the 50s, and it's someone that tinkers with things.
Yeah. And
a hackerspace is a co-op usually, where a bunch of people get together and share a space, and we did something a little different in Danbury. About 5.5 years ago, I had left a startup in California. While living here, I was bi-coastal, and we had the idea. John Gatrell is my co-founder, and we said, you know, we bounced this idea around for a year, let's do it. And at the time, there were only about 200 hackerspaces around the world. A bunch of weird things happened in Danbury, as usually happens in Danbury, where I bump into the mayor a month into the project, and I said, we're starting a hackerspace. And no one knows what they are, and of course Mark knows. And so Mayor Mark says, yeah, I know what they are, pitch me. He wrote a blog post about what a hackerspace is. 3 months into the project, they gave us the bank building at the library for $1 per year. We're a full 501c3, and we help start companies. But we have an arts component to what we do, and so we're focused on economic development, but the arts component is people like Jhonny. We have a bunch of artists, Crystal, Donna, Ava. They all are very fantastic artists. But Jhonny came in and said, I want to make a stop motion movie. You know, I have one. And we did a showing. We had the biggest showing we had, 60 people. I counted the room. And so we showed his movie, and he said, I want to raise a few $1,000s on Kickstarter to make another movie. And I was like, no, let's go for 5 and get you all the equipment you need. We raised, what, $5,700, something like that?
58 something.
$5,800, and we did launch parties for the Kickstarter at the space, and this is the type of stuff we want to do, is help people you know, fulfill their dream, be it an art project or a company.
That's fantastic. So Jhonny, why don't we talk about the first video that we're going to see. Do you know anything about it, or do you want me to just roll it in?
No, I can tell you a little bit about it.
Sure.
This is to promote the summer camp in Bethel at what was formerly known as Spark Arts of Bethel. It's now, it's a company owned by Cynthia Rauschart, which is now Circus Moves. They do a lot of really cool stuff. And to promote a summer camp that I was doing, every year Bethel has an event called the Summer Fest. And it's just a bunch of stuff, different businesses, different, just the streets are just lined up with cool stuff going on. And Spark Arts at the time had one, and the people that were going to be running the summer camp did little like demos that day. And I did the same thing that I showed you in the last episode that we filmed. Just a collab of a bunch of people coming in and these brilliant students, and what they would do were just, you know, make little clay figures. We just use clay, simple, and then move to the next table when they were ready to be animated. And we just did that, and then we showed them all together, and that's what we came up with.
Pretty cool. So why don't we take a look at that video and just roll it in. back. In case you're joining us late, you're watching Time Out with Kevin Gallagher, and of course your host. And Jhonny, tell us a little bit about that video and maybe the next one that we'll see.
Well, that was what I described before it.
Yep.
And the next one we're going to see was the actual stop motion summer camp, which is the first time that I taught, a summer camp, which was a different experience. It was a lot of fun. And before we start this one, I wanted to thank, once again, Cynthia Rauschart. And also the helper that I had during that class named Juliet Finn. She was great. Thank you, Juliet. And
how much work was that? I mean, you had a lot of people you were trying to coordinate and work with. How much work was that?
That was kind of a different structure. It was same concept. We all come up with an idea, and that was one where we were like, some of the classes were more random in the sense of we just kind of did whatever, and it is what it is. That one, the kids actually really came together as a team and were like, we have to do this. And I made a rule right in the beginning. I was like, if somebody doesn't like it, it's not happening. We have to all agree. I really wanted a strong teamwork effort on that one in particular.
And let's take a look at the next video. You can roll that in as you have the chance, and let's take a look at that. Everybody, we're watching a video called One Weird Zoo, and that's part of the compilation of different animations that we're looking at this week. We're here with Jhonny Parks, but we're going to talk to Gabby. And Gabby, how did you first get involved with the class that Jhonny teaches? I know we were talking during the video and saying, I was the oldest one in the class. Oh my God, I was the oldest one. So tell me about the class. How young were the other people? And let's take it from there. I mean, were they like,
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. So I had expressed interest in animation to my dad, and I was traveling. And he's a big part, he loves the Danbury Library. He's always getting emails and very involved. He had forwarded me an email about a stop-motion animation class taking place at the Danbury Library.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's great, that's something I'm interested in. And I registered for it. But I didn't read the fine print. It was for ages 8 to 18.
8 to 18.
Yeah, and I'm recently just turned 23.
Okay.
Her birthday was actually in the class.
Yeah.
I had the whole class sing happy birthday to her.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, the first day of class, I walked in and I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, it was a bunch of children. And I am a college graduate, so I'd say probably the oldest one was 14.
14.
Yeah.
So you were like an old.
Oh yeah, and it was very obvious that I was out of place. But
No, you were in the right place.
No one gave me a hard time for it. Maybe Mike a little bit, but no.
Me?
No.
What did I do?
But yeah, no, I was still accepted, and I really enjoyed it being with I actually like children, so it was easy for me to get along with everyone. And seeing all the kids from different schools in Danbury was really cool for me, especially because I had grown up in Danbury Public Schools. And having them all be from different places in the same room working together, I really appreciated that.
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at your project in a little while. How fun was that to work on?
Oh, it was a great time. Getting to know people while you're working on something together it's an experience.
Yeah, yeah. So let's take a look at the next video that we have before we get to your video, which will be last. We'll take a look at video number 3 for this show, and folks, enjoy. And Jhonny, we were talking while this was running about how long it takes these films to be made, and tell us a little bit about what we saw.
That one was Spectacular. It was a Maker-in-Residence program at the Westport Library. And I'd like to say thank you to Alex Giannini for having me there again. Also Margaret Pastel for helping out, and Jonathan Russo for the 3D printing, which is what I wanted to talk about. It took a while because there were so many people on this one helping out. I wasn't able to see Jonathan because he had something else going on at the time, but before I got there, he actually 3D printed the tombstones for the props, and we just painted them with the students. It was the first time that we ever had the chance to use silicone molding and cast resin to produce. So you see a lot of pumpkins there.
Yeah.
Yes, all from the same mold. It was the first time that we ever got to bring in moss and really do that. That class wasn't as much planned as it was set building. I think that was the main function of that one, is kind of making a creepy Halloween
eerie.
He told me ahead of time, we were make a scary movie with Jhonny Parks. That's how they promoted it over there. So I wanted to give it that Halloween theme, but everybody ended up helping out. Even Margaret Pastel over there, which is an employee over there, she made the cats. So we did replacement models when the ghost goes by and the cat gets scared. That's actually three separate cats. Just painted gray a little more and then swapped them out. Huh. Yes. We also did green screening. That was the first where we did green screening. But it was funny with that class because we had a lot of sign-ups and only 2 or 3 actual
now that
students
video
that ended
is
up
really
coming in.
short. I know, Mike, you were talking about it while it was running. How long did these take to make?
We took 2 days to animate that one, and the rest was stage building.
Wow.
We didn't have as much time with that class as some of them. There were shorter hours. Yeah, so I would say the whole class was, I don't know, I believe 10 hours.
10 hours.
10 hours, and it might have been 15. I think it was 10 hours. And like I said, the last 2 classes, the only 2-hour classes, were animated on.
Wow, wow. So, Mike, what do you like about all this, about the whole aspect of the art and the science? What does Jhonny bring to the table for you?
So, one of the things we found is we got a building, so we were all excited about it, and then we realized it's not the building, it's the people. And so, so what we found is when people, work in a space together, they have these creative collisions.
Yes.
And we want art to be a big part of it. Our model for the hackerspace in Danbury is based on something called Artisans Asylum in Boston. Artisans Asylum is 40,000 square feet, and they actually have artist lofts. where people can rent a loft and build a company out of that space. And they have people making models, they have a beer maker, they have people making clothing and jewelry, and they have people making electronics and people building things that they sell.
Yeah.
And so that's what we found is art has to be a big component of this. And people like Jhonny Parks, when he wandered in, he was like, hey, I have this movie, it's on Amazon Prime. And I'm like, that's exciting, a local guy has a movie. You know, and I love stop motion, I'm a huge fan. And so some of the artists we have, Crystal actually is a talented 3D artist and animator, but she also decided to make soap and other products, and so she has Metal Arc soaps. And she actually, a lot of our people sell their products through a really cool place in Danbury. You should have them on the show, called Workspace Collective at 287 Main. And anyway, Donna Kernball is one of our artists as well. She actually did the octopus at the Maritime Center, and she partnered up with, she's an amazing toy inventor, artist, etc. She partnered up with Ava, who runs Ava's Party Designs, which is like balloon and party art, and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then David Leach, one employee of the space, has Taylor Cut Media, and Taylor Cut Media is really cool. David is a student at Western, and he's in the film program, but he just shot a commercial using a red camera, the lenses that they used on The Godfather. I mean, this is crazy. But he shot a Kickstarter video for one of our other companies, Noteworthy Chocolates, which is a cross between art and food is art. Noteworthy Chocolates came to our space about 2 years ago, and he had the idea of lasering logos and love letters on chocolate. And so he perfected that process over about 4 months. And during that time, he'd have a lot of mistakes. So he'd break them up and hand them out. He made a lot of friends. But we helped him raise $28,000 on Kickstarter. And Noteworthy Chocolates now has customers like Home Depot and Ogilvy and Mathers, among a lot of local businesses. And they're now located, their real business, a laser chocolate factory, located in Bethel over Molten Java.
Right.
And the crossover is David worked on the video for them, Up Design Media, a web design firm, which is another form of art, creating web art. Worked on the website for them, and everybody helped with the Kickstarter, and it's just a big community.
But what did people do before things like Kickstarter?
Friends and family.
You know?
Use your pension, your life savings,
Yeah.
you know, bootstrap it, scrape together. One of the things we're doing that's kind of cool is we've found out where the money is.
Yeah.
And, you know, local investors, we found Kickstarter to be a great way to raise money. We're over $50,000 in Kickstarters now. Our first one was a cool company too. We have a toy company in Danbury, and you got to have Luke on. Have you Luke's Toy Factory?
Okay.
He designs the models in 3D, and they're actually made in Connecticut. This is a toy, like fire trucks and dump trucks, and they're actually assembled in Danbury, over on East Liberty Street in the Believe building. So these are all people that are part of it, but we helped Luke raise $15,000 for his first Kickstarter to make the first mold for his toy.
That's very cool.
So a lot of really great success stories. And Jhonny, it's amazing. He walked in, and then one of the women there bought the producer credit, you know, the Workspace Academy up in Bethel. She bought the producer credit on your Kickstarter. And then she hired you. And the Danbury Libraries brought you in as maker residence twice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exciting to see all these collisions that happen, all these great, wonderful things that happen when you put people together.
Absolutely. We inspire each other, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm the dumbest guy in the room, and I'm loving it.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But we're going to show your film now, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Lights Out, Boxed In.
Lights Out, Boxed In.
Yeah, we were going for a box troll look, kind of, but I brought in like a bunch of broken watches. They weren't broken before I broke them. Just for their parts.
Moving over.
The gears and the gadgets.
Violent person.
No. Just to use the gears and the gadgets to make this kind of steampunk looking armature characters to work with. And Jhonny had made the prototype, I guess you would say, right? To for us to design and mold and work with. And yeah, no, it was interesting. We some of the kids used lights, some of them didn't. Some went for different types of themes, and he kind of let it roll. We all like went for it, making this film. A lot of
fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And how happy were you with the finished product?
I was happy. I wish I had my own segment of just my character, but that's just me being selfish.
Right.
So it's still anime timely.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it from your point of view, and then we'll roll the video in.
That was, I can say, I don't mind saying this, that was definitely the smoothest class of all of them. There was just no hitches, nothing that was even challenging, because number one, that was my final class, and then I announced I'm going to stop teaching for a little while,
Right.
just get my own personal projects done. So by that point, I kind of got it down, which is funny because, like I said earlier, we started with the Danbury Library and we ended with the Danbury Library. And what a difference from that first class, what it evolved to just by me learning how to teach. You know, it's not just me teaching the students, I don't know, but they're teaching me a lot too at the same time. And I learned how to do it in a much more organized fashion, I think. But also the students were just absolutely fantastic. They made it very easy on that. And Gabby, I couldn't have done it without Gabby. Honestly, I couldn't have. She was definitely a role model for the students in the class. Really glad that she was there. And like Gabby said, it was the first class actually that I was able to implement real lights, not lights just illuminating the set, but actually attached to the characters. So we did some scenes in the pitch black that you're going to see. It added a cool aesthetic to it.
And with that, let's roll the videotape. Let's take a look. And we're back. And Jhonny, why don't you give some credits out to some of the people that have worked behind the scenes to make all this, I can't talk today, that have made this all possible. I can't get the words out.
Yeah, well, I would like to thank, once again, Joe Becker for letting me use his track on that one at the credits, You're All I Need. And I also wanted to say that I'm not going to be teaching.
I got a minute left.
I'm not going to be teaching for a little while, but I did want to thank Tom Bonehead from Bonehead Studios in Cheshire, who did this collaboration called It Came From Connecticut, Volume 3. I just did the artwork for that, and I'm going to be freelancing for a little while. I'm working with Gavin McLeod from the Puppet Box in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm going to be making the puppets for his upcoming book, Avery and the Exotic Bird Emporium. Guy Greenhue, commissioned from the UK. I'm going to be doing the artwork for his vinyl, Mouth to Mouth EP, Subterranean Suck, and Finish the Mouse, which we are almost done.
Finish the Mouse. And
yes.
hopefully that'll be out
It
sometime
is
this
coming.
century.
It is coming.
Folks, I'm Kevin Gallagher. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here on the program. It's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. I just wish I could talk tonight. That would be even better, you know. But, folks, please tune in again next week and see what it is we'll be talking about. For everybody here at the table, I'm Kevin Gallagher. Have a great night. Bye-bye.